Trini.
Yes, and it's your boy the G-Man, and I am back in 2021. Yes, brand new vlog, Vlogume number 10. Say it again, Vlogume number 10. Oh my God, reached that milestone finally. You know what, today I've got somewhat of a special vlog today because I'm gonna have some of the PT family members featuring. So first and foremost, just wanna say a big shout out to the PT family. Shout out to the Straight Shootin LJA, Jezzy Fizzle, JBK and Nathan Arsenal. And people, remember to check out all our content. It's on YouTube, so please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, turn on those notifications because when these videos drop, you will be the first to be notified. Also, share and like. You get me? Share and like. Share and like, and maybe drop a comment as well. That would be great. But people, you know, I'm going to get straight into it. Topic title is why not the 23s. Essentially, this seed has grown from a conversation we've had in our WhatsApp group. Now, after the Liverpool and Southampton game at the weekend, I have asked the question, you know, why is it that, you know, some managers or some clubs, especially at the top, they tend to not want to use under 23 players when they have them at hand, you get me? So they'll might put a player who's not specifically for that position in that place. Or in the case of Liverpool, I think like they fielded something like 5-6 midfielders. They had Jordan Henderson and Fabinho as centre backs due to their crippling defensive injuries. Now, Liverpool on the bench, they had Reece Williams and Nathaniel Phillips, who, you know what, I totally understand, you know, they're inexperienced and you wouldn't throw both of them into the game, but I personally would have thought you could have thrown at least one of them into the game, maybe to sit by Fabinho, who has had the more experience at centre-back position, and, you know, Henderson potentially could have played further up the field in his natural position. Now, my aching with this whole situation is not based around what Liverpool do. This is something that happens in all clubs, and it just seems like sometimes, you know, the elite teams, being the Premier League teams, they tend to look away from playing under 23 players in certain games, and you see some strange things happening, like a player that's never played in a certain position playing there, which, you know, I don't know, man. I just don't really understand why that happens. So when asked the question, the LJA must have said,
yeah, why can't an under 23 player play there? Fact is, look at recently, and I mentioned this in my vlog with Des about in regard to Gary Neville, and the other one about Des Kelly as well. You know, see, it's all good you saying, oh, can an under 23 play there? But you gotta look at this. With all due respect to Arsenal, we are competing at the very tippy top level. So as I said before, like, there's only so many gambles you can really afford to take. And as I said, with the injury list as long as we've got, which at one point was in double figures, and these are vital positions. It's literally one of them when we've had injuries through the spine of our side. So it's one of them ones, but also as well, it's like young players like Williams, Phillips, you can't rely on them. You can't rely on them like game after game after game after game, because they're just finding their feet, they're just finding their experience. And again, look at all these pundits, some fans as well, but you look at all these pundits who every time someone makes the slightest mistake, everybody piles on. So you have to negotiate that very, very carefully on a general basis.
and you know what, just listening to the LJA, I do really understand his point, and I can kind of see where Klopp would have been coming from in this situation, because like LJ said, Liverpool are fighting for the title. So sort of experimentation and taking chances, they're not really going to do that. They're going to stick with those players that they know who can perform. So I actually get that. But for me, it's like, I look at the situation like, well, when you flip it and you look at it from another angle, you could actually see it as like, well, this was a perfect chance for Liverpool to give those kids a chance to prove themselves in this game. You know, this is an elite game. Southampton are basically in great vein of form at the moment. They've got Theo Walcott in his best form of his latter career. They've got Danny Ings looking pretty sharp and solid up front, you know, and it would have been a great test for those lads to see where they're actually at in their careers. I guess the telling signs of not actually being put into the first team is that Klopp doesn't actually think they're ready for that sort of situation. But you know what, for me, it would have still been one of those ones, why not just give them the chance to see if they're actually ready? But you know what, Jamie, who actually coaches, you know, he said the following.
As far as it looks, the problem that you got to remember, Gavin, is the reason why Liverpool can't just find a under-23 player or whatever is because sometimes if you've got to bed them in and gel them, and this is me speaking as a coach, if you've got to bed them in and you've got money riding on one result, you've got to play that level constantly. You haven't got time just to bring somebody in and nurture them and just put them in. But the problem is that you don't, at those levels, you don't have the time. We're talking about elite clubs. We're talking about teams that play in the Champions League. They don't have the time just to bed in young players. They don't have, that's what coaches really want to do. But to be a manager, and to be a manager of a club like Liverpool, and to be a manager of a club like Southampton, and, well, maybe not Southampton, but to be of a club that plays in Europe, to be a club that's been in Europe and been an elite club, well known to the world for so many years, to play with players who cost you 75 million just for one person. You don't have the time just to bed in those players who will come after them. You basically have to say either you're ready or you're not. And that's the issue with management compared to coaching. With coaching, you can nurture those players, the ones that you bought for 75 million, just like you would the ones that you would bring through for free. The problem is you don't have that as a manager because of the pressure that a chairman will say, you need to bring the results. And if he's not bringing the results, great, wonderful, you need to go.
And yeah, Jamie makes a good point. You know, again, stressing what Liam's saying, Liverpool don't really have that time to be developing players when they're actually fighting for the title, which they are. And you know, results haven't been too pretty for Liverpool at the moment. They have seen them have a little drop off now, and maybe there is a bit of a pressure there for Klopp now, whereas last season where he was willing to throw in like a Curtis Jones or a Nico Williams, do you get me? This season there's less of those opportunities, so I get what Jamie's saying on the whole development front. But you know what? We want to hear what you've got to say, yeah? Was Klopp right to field two defensive midfielders at centre-back? You know, would you have done the same thing? Would you have thrown in the younger players? Do you feel, the question I've got is, do you feel that under-23 players actually get the opportunities that they deserve? Or are you like me thinking that sometimes they're majorly overlooked? You know what? Just drop your comments below, and you know, I hope you enjoyed the video, but I'm gonna go. So people, love, peace.